Oh, the train keeps rolling. Mike, go ahead.
Okay. This is episode 19. We will survive by any means necessary. To soothe the public opinion, Rossiu overthrows Simon and puts him under arrest. But when the anti-spirals launch a large-scale attack on Communist City, he is left with no option but to let Simon engage the enemy using the Gurren Lagann, not before resorting to extremes to put him under his control. There's no way to say it. I fucking hate Rossiu now.
I was waiting to see how many episodes it was gonna take, but I finally got the F-bomb hate on Rossiu, and it only took 3 episodes.
I was patient with him in episode 17 when I thought, he's sounding a lot like his father. In episode 18, it's like, okay, so he's Machiavellian and he cares about the people, but only kind of. Now it's like, no, and something happens in the end. Like something happens at the end with Khitan that I feel unsatisfied. I wish he landed a punch. I wish he could have landed that punch.
Khitan is the fucking MVP of season 2. Khitan is so fucking good. He went from this goofball that is just kind of irritable to they go out of their way to go. Simon was kind of the self-insert in a way in the first season. Now it is 1,000% Khitan. At every turn, he is the person voicing what you're feeling right now, going, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's like he's in this in every situation. His sister, of all people, is the person he puts on that suicide mission. What if in the emergency situation, Simon lost and they hit an explosive in the cockpit and she dies just because you were a jackass? Like,
if I were Khitan, I would have been pissed.
I would have shot him if I was Khitan. I'd have been like, nope, I'm not punching you. You're dying right now. Like,
I gotta know. Is this the most I'm going to hate him? Because if this is the worst, then I'm prepared to forgive him if this is going somewhere.
He does 1 or 2 other things. I won't say what, but he's not quite done yet. So you might have another tirade. Just gonna say, but I have to bring up. Remember when I say they pay off stuff quite a bit?
Yeah.
Remember in episode 9, they basically have this exact same talk when they're in when he's in his prison cell, when they're walking through the halls right after Kamina died, and Khitan is kind of laying into Simon, and he talks about his faith and all these gods and how your face gods killed my bro. Are you happy that he's dead? They legitimately have the same conversation 7 years later in the same fucking instance. Like, they pay off everything. They pay off everything. And
I was gonna say, like, before you brought it up, Rossiu pushed the Kamina button. You do not push the Kamina button.
No one. That is the... If you want to talk about how serious it is on a serious note, it is the life and death situation serious version of calling at... Which Elric brother is it? Edward Elric.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Of calling him short. It is the serious version of that. You do not do it, that shit will happen. And when you say that everything is done, everything that we're better people because he died, not because he inspired us, but because his death urged us to fight on. Dude, you had the best of intentions with that statement, but you don't know how to communicate.
He doesn't.
And that's from growing up in that village. It's just, and it's right after their usage of color. They don't do it a lot, again, but that weird art style they kind of shift into to show the mobs, especially when they tear down Kamina's statue, they're that quick. They're already like, our savior, nope, give us Simone. We're tearing down the statue. Give us Simone now. Like, are you kidding me? That fast.
Yep. Remember the last episode when we really delved into politics and religion and human nature being what it is? Don't worry, guys. We promise they're still fighting robots. Please don't leave.
The time will come when we get back to the shit you want to have us talk about. But keep in mind, the next episode is, oh God, how far will you test us? So we're going to be there for just a little bit. We're basically in the 3-episode arc of... I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, the
4-episode arc, I should say. The shit sucks arc. We'll call it that. And... man, I like also how Rossiu is just, you have two budding ideals. He point blank says that they see him no differently than Genome now. Genome was a person that set identical rules to keep people under order against their will to do what he wanted.
That is pot calling the kettle black.
Exactly. And then he's like, he cannot, he's obsessed with rules. He can't, Rossiu literally can't function if he doesn't have rules. And that comes really into effect now, and especially moving forward, that's why he can't understand why Team Gurren does stuff the way they do, because they don't have them. None of them do. They operate by keep moving forward. We will fix it. Things will get better. You can't quantify the human spirit with rules. You just can't. And that's something he doesn't get.
I hope it's something he does learn. Kind of like how at the end of the Buu saga, when Vegeta basically accepts, okay, Kakarot, you're better than me. I throw in the towel. Yep,
it's like this whole quest of just trying to outdo everyone. It's not worth it. And you get to see in this episode, especially, that how do I want to say this? Rossiu wants to be important.
He doesn't just want it; he needs it.
Like you talked about the Holocaust. This is, I'm not trying to get into this stuff, people, but Hitler got as far as he did because he's a really good talker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basis of it. There was no big fights at first. He just talked to this person there, set up a domino there, got where he wanted. Did you see the look on Rossiu's face when magically everyone's chanting, Rossiu's going to save us all, and da-da-da-da. He was so happy. And when I say put the dominoes in place to do this and there, he was the judge. Ballenbo was his fucking defense attorney.
Because of course.
And Kial was, I can't remember the guy's name, was like the judicator, pretty much. I'm going to quote Danny Phantom, something I didn't think I was going to do. I'll record this. I'm the judge, the executioner, the prosecutor, the executioner, the bailiff, and the executioner. You said executioner 3 times. I really like that part.
That's accurate.
It's accurate. And one thing that we have to keep in mind, and it's something that's going to come up repeatedly in the show, and it's what I talked about with like the human spirit and stuff like that. You're going to notice how Team Gurren is being dealt with by the anti-spirals and humanity as a whole. Nia shows up in that courtroom, and for 2 seconds to say that the anti-spirals want absolute despair.
So they're basically getting their way right now.
They're getting their way. Do you remember the Simone get your shit together arc?
Yep.
How did Simone get more powerful? He stopped fucking moping around.
Taking away his drill is the worst thing you can do.
You're taking away his will to fight. His will to fight was Nia. His will to fight was protecting humanity. He got sentenced to death. And he said, I don't give a shit. Strap bombs to me. Just let me go protect the city. And then Rossiu, that was the moment where I'm like, outside of sentencing him to death, Simone calls him out on the fact that you have to have me come back and be put to death properly because you need to have people see you do this. You can't have me go die on my own terms. You need to be the one that does it. Like,
to quote John Hammond, I really hate that man.
I really hate that man. And also, within 2 seconds, Rossiu is a new Supreme Commander. There's no initiation. There's no nothing. It's just, I became him the second he screwed up. He needs to screw up once, and you're new Supreme Commander. Like,
for a person who is so obsessed with laws, I feel like he skipped a couple pages, a couple chapters.
I think he skipped a couple volumes in the whole series, if we're going to be fair here. And he's got, compared him to Hitler, he has Kino borderline brainwashed.
That's, yeah. There's no other way to describe her pretty much unflinching devotion to him. The text of the show hasn't really made it clear. Are they a thing?
I don't think it, like, later episodes make it seem that way. Like, you never have a Yoko, Kamina, Nia, Simone moment with them. It's very abstract. It's very much just you know how Simone does not know how to be romantic?
Yeah.
Rossiu doesn't have that word in the dictionary. Like,
Okay.
It's not there. Like, that concept never even occurred to him.
Okay.
Like, and yeah, like the fact that all 3 of those sisters actually got major roles in the show when I was watching in season 1, like they're that involved, that kind of shocked me, especially Kino. Like, Kyo just has the kid. Kyo is basically just there to go, God, Rossiu's a fucking idiot. Like, that's all he's. And my sister's stupid. And they become like 4 of the main characters now, like head showrunners in the first part of the show. especially Keaton. Like all the black siblings get a lot of love, and that's just.
And I'm happy for that because they left such a great first impression when we met them back in episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were too likable in that first episode to not come back later. And I bet audiences at the time like wanted them to come back. So the writers were thinking, I mean, assuming there was enough time in between, yeah, you know what? Let's bring them back.
We're getting a crew together. They're gonna be part of it. And like you get to go through the show and you're like, who are some people that we could, I don't want to say not redeem, but it's like really get the love poured into them that other characters got the spotlight of in the first season. And then now we're going to push them to the forefront that they didn't get it earlier. Like Gimme and Dari are 2 other ones where it's like, they were just kind of there to go, yay, Simone, you do the stuff. And like, they've been in a third of every episode now.
Yep.
That's nuts.
They're kind of the Goten and Trunks of this season.
You're not far off. You really, really, really aren't.
Now before we get back into the serious stuff, we need some levity, and thankfully Liran is there to provide it.
Liran and Artenborough, that fucking scene. First off, Liran, and speaking of Gimme and Dari, when he's just like, I can't remember the exact quote when he says, "What am I going to do to shut that mouth of yours?" The Gimmy's just like, "You're the one person I've never learned to deal with. God, just go away." Fucking Attenborough can't. He has the Austin Powers like chair moment with Dr. Evil, but with Liran. And the best part, like he has that, but he also has Liran's just talking, and you just have him like moving his chair. There's no reason. He's just being stupid. It's just like there's no reason this chair needs to do that either.
I think the animators just had too much fun with that chair.
They do, and it's just like, and you can tell, like I said, there's the rumor that they saved a total of 40% of the show's whole budget for the last 5 episodes. And like, you can tell just by the color quality and stuff, the spike that went into production with doing all of this. It just looks so pretty. Even from the intro, how cool it looks. And the fact that they actually had Shoko, I can't remember exactly what her name is. They had her make a new theme. It's still Sororio Days. It's different lyrics.
Yep.
And I just thought that was so damn cool. That it's just like because like some series, they just totally upshoot, throw the old theme in the garbage and get rid of it. And they're like, no. Sororio Days is staying.
It's just new lyrics.
It's just new lyrics because there's like, you're not touching that classic. There's no way in hell. People would riot if Sororio Days got taken out.
Something else I like about the opening for the English dub is they don't try to redub the opening like in English. They just play the Japanese theme.
And I appreciate that because you weren't going to do a lot better than it. And Amelie, I will give her credit. Her version of that opening theme is phenomenal. If you guys have not listened to it, go look up Amelie. She does a really good version of that. Kiss of Death from Darling in the Franxx and Cruel Angel's Thesis from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Ooh.
That one is really good. Holy crap, she knocked that one out of the park. But which is like, it seems even more cheery when you hear it in English. It matches that show even less. You're just like, how the hell? But yeah, like we had you had some levity in there, and I'm very happy. And they're starting to sprinkle more and more into it. Like it was like 98% bad, 92% levity. Now it's starting to creep towards 90%. It's still mostly sad. But yeah, we're getting there. And I'm not going to say that because, I'm just not going to say that. I'm going to be stern and I'm not going to spoil shit. So we're not going to say that. But
what we will say is there's a mecha fight.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one.
You got to see Giga Drill Maximum, which, not to be spoilery, that's a lie.
So this is the like the special attack equivalent of this isn't even my final form.
Yeah. Maximum is a very, very pretty, very, very pretty attempt at saying that's all that's ever going to get happen in the show. It's adorable. It's very adorable.
I've heard things about the finale that I'm not going to spoil for the audience who's watching the show with us, but I'm just so excited.
Stupidly awesome is a good way to describe it. Like, stupid can be used in many ways, and I do not mean stupid and bad. It's stupid. Like,
stupid is a quantity.
Exactly. In Gurren's world, it's a measurement, and the more stupid, the better. But the weird part is, in their world, it's actually playing by the rules. It's weird to say, but how they set their logic up, especially with how you start learning more about spiral energy in the episodes going forward, they don't break their own rules ever.
That's smart.
It is. When you set up something as, what I want to say, ambiguous as the human spirit is what drives the machine, you could do a lot of bullshit. There's man, if I can find it, I'll send it to you afterwards. I believe it's actually Vegeta that's voiced in it. There's these two mechs that are having a fight. I believe one of them is voiced by Vegeta, like they're doing an impersonation, and Vegeta's in the mech piloting it, and he's fighting something else. But he's just like, it's gonna take some real bullshit to win this fight. You have no chance. And also he just looks at the core drill spinning up and he goes, good, I happen to have some bullshit right here, and this giant drill pops up. If I can find the link, I know who sent me the video, so if I can find it and send it to you, I'll send it to you. But yeah, you got to see a new version of the Mugan, and it's basically a hornet's nest.
The designs of these Mugans are fascinating.
Yeah.
Unlike the gunmen, they're not trying to look like human at all. Like, they don't have faces. They're more inanimate objects.
I cannot wait for you to see what an anti-spiral looks like, because you have not seen one. That is just the weapons they use. I cannot wait for you to see what an anti-spiral looks like.
I can't wait to see it myself.
Because it's genuinely jarring how they draw them.
Does it like shift art style?
Like, just for them. Like, the rest of the frame looks exactly the same. They are just weird.
Okay.
And you can tell that they did that to make you feel like, what the hell is that thing? You're going to ask that a lot, actually. The more I'm thinking about the shit you're going to see, everything the anti-spirals have is just weird. But I can't wait for you to actually see an anti-spiral. Because I want to say when they were setting up, when they were like, they obviously had the anti-spirals in their head. Because they set up so much with the spiral. They knew what they were going for. Gainax was very much aware. It's kind of just like, what is the most in our heads opposite thing we could possibly make? And like you said, these things don't look like gunmen. They look like weird satellites.
Mm-hmm.
And Simone even goes, you faceless bastard, where I was kind of like, A, the face obsession will never go away. And then B, it's like, yeah, it doesn't have a face. This is not something Genome had. This is something different. And then you're like, they have this weird Arabian synth music that occupies them for whatever reason. If you guys will notice, when I say Arabian synth music, that would kind of remind you of, you have not watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I assume.
No, I haven't.
The second season, has a group of enemies called the Pillarmen, and they are AC/DC,
I love that.
Wamu, so Wham, and then Cars. Like I said, the guy's obsessed with music. Araki is just a nut. But they all have this weird, like, funky Arabian, like, desert music. That's because the guy that made a lot of the music for Gurren did a lot of the music for JoJo's. So you'll notice a lot of similar stuff, especially Rap is a Man's Soul, which you watched episode 16, the compilation episode.
Yeah, so I got to hear the whole song, and that song's a bop.
That thing's a banger, and they use it a lot, which you see. Well, we have some other stuff to get to before we get to that, but you get to hear one version, or you get to hear the sad version of it with the weird, like that weird voice distorted thing that was showing when he gets sentenced to death.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird chilled version of Rap is a Man's Soul, or whatever they call it, because that song has, to my knowledge, 4 different versions in the show. And depending on the beat they put behind it, they don't change the lyrics. Each one of them has a different name.
Oh, something else we haven't talked about. Starting in episode 17, the eye catches now include the lyrics "Fight the Power."
Yes.
And I love that's a nice touch.
It is a very nice touch to let you show it's different, which you'll notice I put into these when you're watching these. Just a little touch. It's Row Fight the Power is just, it's so simple, it's to the point, and I love it. You never hear a character in the show say it, but it matches so well. They're literally fighting oppression the entire show, and I love it so much. But
it's just 2 different types of oppression.
Yes, 2 very different types of oppression. Oppression for good, and then oppression. We'll get into it. But yeah.
Can we go back to hating Rossiu now?
Yeah, we can. We can go back to hating Rossiu now. Well, we shouldn't get too far away from it. We kind of learn that the green Mugans are control units.
And those other anti-spirals are like, how should I put it? If the control unit is like the hive, then the other things are like the bees.
The bees. And then we also see that they have actively learned how to deal with them as well.
I like that. I wish they learned that maybe like an episode before, so that Simone wouldn't have been arrested. But Rossiu is so obsessed with power that I think he was, in his mind, he was just waiting for an opportunity to overthrow Simone.
And it helps drill the nail in the coffin. Like, you're being sentenced to death, and guess what? We found a way to fight these things that we don't need you, because we took down the Big Daddy without your help, and there was no collateral damage. So, yeah. Man. Little forehead boy grew up to be quite the dickhead. And it's one of these moments where it's like, you never get to... It's one of my greatest regrets in the show is you never get to see how Kamina would react to certain situations. Like, Kamina never gets to meet Nia.
Aw.
Do you know how much that sucks?
That, man, things would have been so different if... I'm imagining like an alternate version of the show where either we introduce Nia the episode before, or Kamina dies the episode after, so that he can incorporate her into his be the you that you believe in.
Yeah, and it's like just thinking of the thoughts of what Kamina would say now that his little bro found somebody. Like, the concept of a double date can't happen. Can you imagine the amount of cuteness that would happen with Kamina and Yoko just teasing the ever-living shit out of Simone having a crush on Nia?
It would have been too cute.
I couldn't handle it. I'm thinking in my head how that would go, and I can't handle it. Like the entire time, he's kind of just like, I don't know, man. You gotta get Simone. Come on, you gotta say something here. Like, and man, just like picturing. There's so much fan art of like Yoko and Kamina, and then Simone and Nia's kids playing together. And my heart melts. Like, and my heart melts.
Like, come on, that's torture.
It's torture, I know. And it's like, and then the other thing to get away from that, you never get to see Kamina deal with dickhead Rossiu. Because can you imagine?
Honestly, it would be like the scene at the end where Kitan is trying to land a punch, but because Kamina is so awesome, he would have decked him.
He would have grabbed him by the shirt at first to bitch him out, and then there would be no, let's see you grit those teeth. There'd be, I'm gonna knock them teeth out of your fucking head. You're gonna arrest my little brother? I'm gonna kill you. Nope. Not happening. Oh. And one other thing, it's not quite what we're talking about, but there is a cool thing called, and I think you can look them up on YouTube, called Alternate Works. That's on that big collection that I have.
Interesting.
Where just like alternate universe versions of these characters.
Wait, is that called Gurren Lagann Parallel Works?
Yeah. Where it's like, what would happen if they were in samurai times? What would happen if this happened? And it's really cool. They're just like little mini things.
Oh, you know what? I want to go down that rabbit hole someday.
They're really cool. I've not watched all of them, but the few of it that I've seen, because I've not put those DVDs in, I've watched a little bit that's available online. They're awesome. But yeah. Rossiu sucks at this current moment is what we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
And like he is trying so hard to make himself look like the biggest, baddest man, and they figured out that we can only hold about 64% of the population of the Earth in underground shelters that would survive the lunar impact. Then he, through a stroke of genius, looking through the Lord Genome supercomputer, that was one where I'm like, what? When I first watched it, I was kind of like,
wait, hold on, what?
Like, I won't get into it. There's reasons they bring Lord Genome back and they pay off, but I was kind of just like, in that current moment, you need to be able to talk to him. If his files are on a computer, you should just be able to. It's purely for visual spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
But to bring back the religious babada, they literally have Arc Gurren, which is where New Communist City is going to leave the Earth's stratosphere until after the moon hits.
Didn't I just compare this arc to Genesis not too long ago?
You did, I believe, in the last one.
Yep.
You were a little too on point because I didn't want to bring up the literal arc that is going to happen in this episode. It's just like, hey, remember when we had our base of operations that got more badass as time went on, and then we blew it up? We've got one that's like 15 times bigger now.
The show, man. Fucking show.
Escalation. Whoop, she just hits a 90-degree after this part of the season. And the name, it's not the name for that, but you get to hear a name for something else that happens that Lord Genome named it. And I think it's one of the coolest things for a ship ever in anime ever. It's so cool. And only Lord Genome would name it the way that he names it, because it's not something that Gurren would come up with, but it's awesome. Yeah, so our big grand plan that got Rossiu to be cheered like the savior of the universe is that we're going to sacrifice all our homes, get into this ship, and then
leave Earth.
And leave Earth. So all these people, give or take, all of the million of them didn't exist at this time. We're more than happy to be like, we're going to fight on and do all this. And then we got our way and we earned our city. And now we're pissed off at Simone that he destroyed about 2 city blocks. Rossiu wants to leave Earth, let the moon detonate, and destroy literally everyone's house? Cheers! Cheers all around! Toast! Like,
I take back what I said about Rossiu growing a spine. No, he didn't.
no.
His head just grew bigger, but on the inside.
Yeah, he broke his spine from the amount of ego that he's carrying around. Like, they set it up so well in episode 15 when you see the very opposite reactions from everybody, like the look of terror in Rossiu's eyes when he hears that proclamation from Genome, and then this all happens. And he literally is trying to turn himself into a Jesus figure, and it's all for self gains. Like, he needs to be the guy that's saving it now. It's just, for a guy that could not read the Holy Scriptures back when in the day, he learned his own version of them pretty well.
Yep.
I have to go over to make sure I didn't learn anything about just how much of a dick Rossiu is. We pretty much went over.
I'm pretty sure we covered everything.
Except what Rossiu sent him into. We didn't cover that yet.
We were getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Rossiu sentenced him to, I believe it starts with an L. I forget the name of the prison, but to just serve out his sentence until he's put to death. So he's pretty much just going to wait there until kablooey. They're going to sentence him, but it's just like, do you really care? You're going to be more busy with setting everyone off Earth that you're probably not even planning on having a trial at this point. It was just kind of like, yeah, go rot there. And basically, you get to see the Dark Knight, but with freaking Viral. Welcome to prison life, Supreme Commander. And then fades to black.
Best cliffhanger ever.
Oh, man. Little Viral. Man, that dude, he looks so done with life. Now that he's got his long hair and the raggedy clothes, he's been through the freaking ringer.
I love his prison look. His prison look?
Yeah, it's
all that's missing is like the long beard.
Pretty much. Even he's too dignified to have a beard. He's just like going to have the flow, but that's it. I'm going to look dignified, not scraggly. It's just, I have to hold on. While we're sitting here, I need to look up something. Exactly what hold on. I need to.
You're looking up the like the name of the prison.
Oh, the name of the prison. Not the name of the prison. Just okay, so yeah. Luckily, a cliffhanger that sets out that starts at the end of the next episode. I was looking up where cliffhangers kind of end out because Viral's what they're doing with him kicks off in the next episode. you're going to be very happy. You're going to be very, very happy.
I cannot wait.
Because we're probably going to do another 3, and you're going to realize where Viral's going. And I repeat, outside of Simone, he has top 4. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I excluded somebody else in my mind. Outside of Simone and Kamina, he has the best. I'm not saying the other one.
Okay, so we'll get there.
Because it's a massive spoiler. Has the best arc in this entire show. One of my favorite arcs in anime. Just where he ends up from where he starts is ridiculous. And we're going to get there.
All right.
But I don't think I asked you in the last episode if you would have changed anything.
Critically, no. For this or episode 18, but
okay.
Objectively, I want to punch Rossiu in the face.
Objectively, you would have had Keaton beat the shit out of him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man, the fact that of all things, he doesn't get punched, but Keaton slaps him. I was just like, Keaton is another person who's like Simo, just cannot catch a break. They're trying so hard to always do the right thing, and just, like I said, this is the bleh arc.
Yep, this is the bleh arc.
You know that point when you just get sick and you start throwing up before you really start to feel better? That's what this arc is.
Yep.
Oh yeah. But I need to look at these episode titles again. So if we do 3 again, we're going to be that one. Holy mother of everything. Yeah, we're going. If we do this 3-3-2. Yeah, there's going to be some very appropriate times for when we stop. And man, I'm almost going to beg you, because at the end of some of the episodes coming up, they kind of get really spoiler heavy on what's going to happen in the next episode. And I'm going to pre-watch the episode before we're going to review it, before we even get in the review thing, just so I can make sure, on my soul, I need to beg you to not get spoiled for episode 26.
Okay.
It is the second to last episode, and it has one of the coolest things that happens in the entire show. And then it leads into the last battle. So I'm going to pre-watch it to let you know when to stop, because it's one of those very much Dragon Ball Z type of next time on, oh, you whatever. It's very much one of the, they're in the middle of the beam struggle. The cool thing that's going to happen in the next episode is in the credits. And then you get to see how they get there. And I am about to start crying at what happens. That I'm crying right now. That I can't think about it anymore. I'm gonna physically start bawling if I think anymore about it. It's just so good. All right, Mike, where can they reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at
Captain42. Oh.
Check out my quick thought reviews on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups, just at my name. Check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Find all our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, don't forget to check out renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
Yes, we do. You can find me at Organoid0, mostly on Twitch. By the time this comes out, I will be streaming either Miles Morales, Godfall, or the Devil May Cry Special Edition. So tune in for those. I don't know which one it's going to be, because we're recording a piss load of this ahead of time. To be honest, by the time you're probably seeing this episode, we're going to have the next series that we're doing probably halfway recorded.
Probably, yeah.
At least. Well, actually, not to be a spoiler, this was my pick for this one. Mike is going to have 2 picks in their movies. We're not going to say what for spoiler reasons. And then we both mutually kind of decided on a series to happen after. So we're going to have basically two big ones and then half of a series in the tank by the time this comes out.
Yep.
You and me could have a year of content down fast the way we're doing this.
If we keep at this pace, then yeah.
Yeah, which, you know what? I'm not going to complain. If I have stuff to upload on the channel consistently, you're not going to hear any complaints from me. And if we get so far, you'll get 2 uploads a week. But yeah, thank you, everybody. I say this a lot, but I cannot stress of how much we are starting to get into the shit. The fact that I'm crying just thinking about moments coming up now. I love all of you. Spin on, and I will see you guys in the next review.
Peace.